Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, let's watch.
Nice personality.
We're so glad that you're both here.
For the first group therapy session, we started light. I think it's really important to get a feel for what attracted them to each other in the beginning, to get them feeling good about this journey that they're about to go on. But right now, we need to know, why are they here?
So, Molly, tell us a little bit about what brought the two of you here today.
Now, I will say, in relation to all the things I've been saying, about my worries that I will have to struggle with commentary on the sort of therapy that happens. And I'm not seeing anything thus far. There hasn't been much that happened. But I will say that if they asked me to be on this show, I wouldn't do it because I would be terrified that I would flub it because I'm on camera. It'd be nerve-wracking. Plus, I would be terrified that the things they included, even if they weren't trying to screw me over, would be moments that I would cringe at later. So I'm not saying that I would have done any better than that. I'm just saying that, I don't know what I'm saying. But if they've never asked me to do anything for the show, I can't imagine why they would. But and sometimes people will suggest it. They'll be like, Kirk, you should call him up and try to do something on the show. Never. Never in a million years. I'm too nervous about things like that. And also, I have enough experience with these kinds of shows to know that they're not interested in salvaging my reputation or my career. They're interested in selling advertisement spots and having an interesting show. And if that means that I'm on the chopping block in terms of the edit, then that's what it means. Or at the very least, they don't necessarily look for the moments that make me look like a wonderful professional. They don't care about that. And so I would never, because I would screw it up because of my nerves. So I should remember that as I watch this therapy unfold.
Here, Molly, what was going on that you were sitting away from Kelly?
Honestly, I just didn't feel compelled to just be sitting over here like, this is great, because it's not for me. It's not a great situation.
Kelly, what is it that would need to change in your mind in order to get reconnected?
It's a great question. And it would be a question that I would hope that I would ask in a situation like that, because it really gets to the crux of the matter. It assesses a lot of things. One, it, to me, assesses if there's any chance at all, because for some people, they'll come into my office, but they gave up years ago, whether they can admit it to themselves or not. So if I don't really get any kind of traction with that question, it lends itself to that possibility, and then I might start assessing for that. The other thing that it assesses for, it's more likely that it will assess the individual's main complaints that they would need to have change. It's very explicit. What would need to change in order for you to feel better about this relationship? And it gives you, as the therapist, something to work on, right? Depending on what they say. So let's see what he says.
I don't know who this woman is. I don't know. If I knew how I would have.
So nothing wrong with his response. It's what's coming up for him. It's honest, but it doesn't help at all because I'm not necessarily looking for a concrete answer. Like, I want her to kiss me 5 times a week, and anything less than that. I'm not looking for that, but I'm looking for something a little bit more concrete. Probably what I would be guessing at this point, and I'm in their shoes because I have no idea what their issues are. From the little snippets I've seen, I think Molly was with someone else a long time ago. But anyway, so I'm guessing that Kelly is very hurt. He has had his feelings hurt by something, and he is disillusioned because he is making conclusions like she doesn't have a heart like I thought she did. And I'd be curious as to what she did that he interpreted as very hurtful to him.
Changed my world for her. I stepped out of my comfort zone for her. I stopped everything for her.
That's exactly right. You stopped everything. The things that you used to do when you got here.
So this is the typical things that you'll hear in a therapy office. Things that are real and are heartfelt, but don't really give me much to work off of. So I'm hoping it seems like Dr. Janie knows what she's doing. I'm assuming that she knows what she's doing, and she is the main person asking questions at this point. And she's the one that has, well, anyway. So if I were in her shoes, I would ask him a follow-up question like, well, what happened or what set of things happened between the two of you that changed you from I am excited about this relationship to where you are now? What exactly did she do? And then it would give me an idea about what he's hurt about, right? So I'd be really curious about that. Hey, Deserving listeners, today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we are faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. And some of you might even be facing a tough choice right now. Well, for me, I like to fully explore all the options. That usually helps me to feel more confident moving forward. And sometimes it really helps to talk with someone and get their perspective and maybe their wisdom. And of course, therapy can help with this. I never planned on specializing in this area when I started out as a therapist, but over time, a lot of clients have come to me when they are facing tough choices that they're having a hard time figuring out what to do. Well, one option worth exploring is BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's worth giving a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and suited to your schedule. And also you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Kirk today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
Here you stop doing. And when I gave you things that could help me eliminate things off my plate, your response was, I didn't come here to be your do boy.
What is a do boy?
I have no idea. Never heard of that before.
Do boy?
Maybe it means like, you will do this for me? I don't know. It is, yeah. Well, we're hearing their conflict, and if you focus on the content, and I work a lot with my trainees around this, that it's very tempting to get into the nitty gritty on the verbatim responses, particularly at this phase, because you're like, oh, who's right, who's wrong? Like, well, that seems like he's a jerk face because he wasn't complying at all with any kind of teamwork regarding the housework or something. It sounds like that was what she was saying, maybe, and that he's this toxic male or something, and so he's the problem. But it's tempting to go there. But usually what's much more important to be focusing on, at least in your mind, maybe you don't necessarily overtly focus on it, but you're focusing on the process. How did they get here? What sort of hurts and fears and rejections and insults and pain that have they incurred from each other? Because that's usually what leads to where they're at right now.
We just like do all your stuff for you? I don't know.
Yeah, do the stuff for you, boy. Can you be my do boy?
No.
That's what you mean?
Negative.
Yeah. So they're coming to the same conclusion that I am. I'm going to take a guess and say that isn't it, but who knows?
Not going to sit here and say I haven't done anything. You are not going to sit here and say that. I got to Georgia. She's talking to me like I'm an employee.
So you feel like things changed once you were in the same location?
The minute I got in Georgia, everything was different. She said I changed. She thought I feel the same way.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting closer, I think, to the problem. So I'm going to take a guess and say that they had a long-term relationship. It sounds like he's from New York, she's in Georgia, and they fell in love online or had very brief in-person interactions. He moves down, and that's when the problems began, and they were very disillusioned, and then they've never gone back to their original connection. So usually what happens in that situation and on this show is the insecurities emerge, their traumas emerge. When they're online and they're talking, there's not a lot at stake, and there's less likelihood of being triggered. But once shit is real and you're living together, and you are like, oh my God, emotionally, this person could destroy me because all this giving that I'm letting him into my house. And for him, I'm moving away from my friends and family to be with her. If this doesn't go well, then I'm a fool and it'll really, really hurt me. And it's really inconvenient. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake when we commit in relationships emotionally and practically. So when it goes from almost nothing at stake to almost everything at stake, then your anxiety goes up. And then when there are signs, because now you're with each other all the time, and your together time isn't special, when you're long distance and you talk to each other, you probably only talk to each other when you're in a good mood, and you miss each other a lot. When you're suddenly living together all the time, there's not a lot of missing each other. And so you are suddenly faced with the vulnerability, and you're starting to kind of annoy each other at times, and you don't have that practice of dating each other from across town to get to know each other's rhythms and that kind of thing. And you get hurt, and because of your past traumas, you start rejecting or you start accusing, and then the other person gets hurt, and it just spirals from there. I'm going to take a guess and say it was some version of that, but I don't know.
On his couch all day watching reality TV.
I can't even talk.
And my thoughts on Molly is Molly needs to develop an awareness of how she is talking about what she wants from Kelly, because for Kelly, he has learned to shut down in difficult situations. We can't have that in a relationship.
Okay, I'm encouraged. There's nothing that she's saying that is off to me. That all sounds fantastic. 2 thumbs up. So, whew, okay.
So we want to encourage that piece to be worked on too.
So we hear there's so much disconnection. We know there are issues in your relationship. And these next 2 weeks, we're going to help you see if we can unearth.
So I'm going to take a guess and say that they only edited in like a small fraction of all the conversation that was happening. So we have no idea what happened in the rest of that session. All right, well, if you ever see anyone impersonating me in the comment section or other places, then please let me know by emailing us. I might not see it in the comment section, so if you email us through the website, that's the most sure way to get a hold of us. And just tell us, look, I think someone's impersonating you on the following video or something. And then we can take action to actually get that person taken down. Usually the impersonators on YouTube are trying to sell you crypto or something, which I promise you I will never do. I will never try to sell you crypto. So if someone that looks like me is doing that, it's an impersonator. And everyone, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.